Let's speak in Spanish. I buy the book. Wow. Compound sentence. I buy the book for my daughter.
There's nothing to it. The problem with language classes is they try to put logic in things. Sometimes there is no logic in things. It's just, it is what it is. Like, yeah.
Like soba is not soup. It is soup. What?
Yeah, I was like, wait.
It's not soba. It's not soap. Okay.
Like,
Come on.
my world is turned upside.
No, like, these things, I feel like it's so much harder to actually learn this rule than if you just practice and read and watch TV.
Because you're a native language.
Yeah, Bean, okay, you can get an opinion on
Ma'am.
this. Bean, shut up.
It's longer than any grammar whatsoever.
Neither did I.
You did on Duolingo, Bean.
No, I had an actual class. She's like, here's Happy Chinese, watch it. Watch it. And she's like, okay, now I'm going to conversation with you. Read it. That's
All good?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Right, guys, you got this. I'm leaving you. Let's go. It's yours.
Okay.
Have you told me another, the other one? Okay, yeah.
I didn't watch it. I feel like it was making it worse. No, it wasn't her. No, I don't think. What's in her name? Oh, it was her. I was.
Yeah, it is. We could tell her. We're sitting in this very class. Right.
Hey guys,
Hi.
are you speaking?
Yeah.
Okay. Should I read the names and the order of the speakers?
Yeah, it's in that order.
Let me try to pronounce it.
Okay.
All right, Michaela, Kelson, so you're first, and then Zui, Bakwatkar. Yeah, close enough. And Laura Segura.
Yeah.
For French. Cool. So that's the order that we're gonna go in, right? Awesome. And Michaela, we're gonna start with you. Michaela. Okay.
Alright. Close your eyes and picture a human being. Now picture a lawyer, now a doctor, now a scientist. Open your eyes and tell me honestly, are you picturing men or women? It's okay, I was picturing men too, and I'm a feminist. In 1920, the 19th Amendment of the US Constitution was ratified, granting women in the United States the right to vote. Next year marks 100 years since this historic bill was passed. In those 100 years, we've made incredible leaps and fostered monumental change. Women's rights movements like Time's Up and #MeToo circulating through social media have gone viral. Today, women can own and inherit property on the same terms as a man, open a bank account, apply for a loan, serve on a jury, become an accountant or a lawyer, report rape, and be considered a person in the eyes of the law. Today, there are more and more people working to remove institutional sexism and empower women and girls starting at a young age. So, why do we still feel so marginalized? I have a job to teach some lessons here in Amman to a mix of local Jordanians and international students. Including myself, there are about 8 other instructors who teach 60 kids every single night. But out of the 8 instructors, I am the only woman. Sexism and gender inequality are so deeply embedded into our society that we barely even notice they are there. My boss would probably be horrified if I attributed his choice of coaches as sexism. But in reality, gender impacts so many parts of our day-to-day lives in ways that we don't even realize. We are literally living in a world designed for men. As a woman, the minute you step into a car, you're at a higher risk of dying than a man. According to a study done by the University of Virginia in 2015, cars are actually designed for men. The positioning of the head restraints, women's shorter height, different neck strength and musculature, as well as women's preferred seating position, means that women are 47% more likely to suffer severe injuries in a car crash and 17% more likely to die, because all of the safety features are designed for men. But it's not just cars and other transportation vehicles. A study done by the University of Pennsylvania School of Medicine in 2017 found that men are 23% more likely to survive resurrection in public. The data showed that people don't know what to do when they encounter a woman who needs CPR, because we all learn CPR on male mannequins. Well, why aren't there any female CPR mannequins? Because we're living in a world built for men. In the 1960s, a formula was developed to determine standard office temperature around the metabolic rate of the average male. But a recent study published in the journal Nature found that the average metabolic rate of women can be up to 35% lower than that of a man. This amounts to almost a 5-degree temperature difference, meaning that women who work in offices are constantly being placed in an uncomfortable and inhospitable environment just because of a gender-biased design. Earlier this year, 2 NASA astronauts were scheduled to make history by becoming the first women to walk in space unaccompanied by a man. Astronauts Anne McCain and Christina Koch were scheduled to take the first ever all-female spacewalk, but their plans were canceled when they discovered that only 2 out of the 6 spacesuits were actually functioning. Both women needed a size medium, and there was only one size medium spacesuit functioning, so they had to go on their spacewalk separately, accompanied by a male astronaut. Further research into this topic found that NASA only designs the 3 sizes of spacesuits: medium, large, and extra large, overlooking the fact that most women wear a small or a medium, and proving that yet again we live in a world built for men. Even bathrooms in public places are unequal between the genders. Most bathrooms are given the same amount of floor space, which may seem fair and equitable at first, but think again. Male bathrooms have both cubicles and stalls, making the number of people who can relieve themselves in a male restroom far higher than that in a female restroom. But even if the number of stalls were to be made the same, the issue still wouldn't be solved because women take up to 2.3 times as long as men to use the restroom. Women make up the majority of the elderly and the disabled, 2 groups who tend to need a longer time in the restroom. Women are also more likely to be accompanied by children to the bathroom. And then there's the 20 to 25% of women of childbearing age who are on their period and will therefore need to change a tampon or a pad. We are living in a world where something as simple as bathrooms are built for men. Then there's the little things, like the fact that even though women's hands are 3 centimeters smaller than a man's, the average smartphone today is 14 centimeters, which is comfortable for a man's hand, but practically the same size as a woman's hand. Even certain features on your smartphone are male biased. Rachel Tapman, a linguistics researcher at the University of Washington, found that Google's speech recognition software is 70% more likely to accurately identify male speech. When Apple first launched Siri, users found that she could help you find Viagra suppliers or prostitutes, but when you told her you'd been raped, she simply replied with, "I don't know what you mean by I have been raped." Just think about that for a second. All of this comes back to one thing. We're living in a world built for men, and that needs to change. The underlying cause of this gender inequality is in the harmful gender and social norms existing in most societies today. The male bias wired into our brains no longer surprises me. As a society, we've simply failed to realize that 51% of the population exists. Even if it isn't deliberate, this male bias has a serious impact on women's lives, the effects ranging from inconvenient to fatal. Real change can't happen until these implicit gender biases are broken down, because the problem is, we're trying to be feminists in a world designed for men. So, how can we change this? We must put value into women. When you put value into a person, it empowers them and makes them want to put their own effort and value into themselves, their work, and their life. So the next time a woman asks you for something, listen to her. Believe her. Because she wouldn't be asking without good reason. Only when we can do this will we no longer live in a world built for men, but a world built for people. Thank you.
Imagine you are visiting a prison. Here you meet a 16-year-old girl in a dark cell the size of a bathroom, with self-mutilating cuts on her hands. She is depressed and isolated. She should be in school. She should be learning from her delinquent actions rather than undergoing depression. So when you think of your childhood, do you remember playing with your friends? Or do you think of a windowless cell with metal bars? Juvenile delinquency is a cry for help. Juvenile delinquents should definitely answer for their actions, but in a way that doesn't impair their chance of reforming. Our youth are the hope of our future. Hence, we need to ensure the rehabilitation of juvenile delinquents. We need to understand the risk factors that lead youth to delinquency, why each juvenile delinquency case is different, and why juveniles must not be treated as adults. This will help us to realize why prevention, alternative sanctions, and rehabilitative programs are more effective solutions than harsh incarceration. What is juvenile delinquency? Juvenile delinquency is a term for any unlawful act committed or participated in by a minor. Unfortunately, the meaning of juvenile crime and the age until which a person is considered a juvenile varies from region to region. Juvenile delinquency facilities focus on the rehabilitation and education of juveniles rather than conviction. In 1977, when the number of juvenile delinquency cases in the US peaked, legislators created harsher laws, allowing more minors to be tried as adults. In spite of a drastic 44% decrease in the number of juvenile delinquency cases, reforms to return the juvenile justice system back to the original intentions are not being implemented swiftly. Why do adolescents become delinquents? One of the major risk factors is social circumstances, like isolation, poor parenting, immoral membership, and bad company. Another one is environmental conditions, like poverty and exposure to violent or inappropriate media. The third one is the physiology and mental health of kids. Per MRI studies, the frontal cortex, which controls reasoning, unlike adults, is not fully developed in an adolescent, resulting in impulsive decisions and emotionally stressful situations. Also, teenagers are easily swayed by temptation and are prone to riskier behavior. Therefore, prosecutors should not treat juveniles as adults, and they should take into account every delinquent circumstances when penalizing the juvenile. When we incarcerate these juveniles, what happens to them? A common problem around the globe: insufficiently equipped detention centers and sexual violence against young inmates. More than a third of US detention centers lack sufficient amenities and developmental programs for juvenile occupants. Also, a fifth of sexual violence victims in prisons were adolescents because they were not separated from adults. At the same time, solitary confinement exacerbates a juvenile's mental and physical health, affecting the development of their moral compass. The permanent record that children receive in adult jails limits future education and employment opportunities. Juveniles placed in the US adult correction system are 34% more likely to recidivate than their counterparts in the juvenile system. Why? Because kids, unlike adults, don't reflect on their actions during jail time. Thus, harsh incarceration in a retributive justice system is neither an ethical nor an economically viable solution for delinquency. So what are some solutions to help these juvenile delinquents? Circumstances, actions, beliefs, and mental health issues of a juvenile often go unrecognized by the adults around them. Therefore, prosecutors and families and societies must have a safe environment for adolescents with two-way communication. Parent management training and home environment evaluations can ensure non-abusive yet firm juvenile supervision. A community-based service strategy, the multifaceted wraparound program, has seen success in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Here, local authorities, family members, and the juvenile jointly create a development plan. Relying on data about health and performance during and before incarceration, this program enables early intervention. It promotes rehabilitation by giving preference to sanctions like house arrest and juvenile detention, which provide the juvenile with a humane environment of communication and interaction. But do these correction solutions for juveniles work? Yes, they do. Of the many examples, 15-year-old Jason Ray, convicted of armed robbery and hustling. At the Texas Youth Commission Juvenile Facility, Jason was motivated to receive his GED and pursue a master's in business and science. Now a successful entrepreneur, he connects previously arraigned juvenile delinquents with successful business executives, helping them to ameliorate their future. While the 12-year sentence held Jason accountable for his actions, the supportive programs helped him transform his life and that of other juveniles. I'm not saying that these juvenile delinquents shouldn't be punished for their actions. I am saying that punishment should not limit their success. For a safe community and a promising future, let's prevent juvenile crime and help the rehabilitation of juvenile delinquents. After all, John Malloy once said, hurt people, hurt people. Heal people, heal people. Thank you.
What is your passion? As a child, my answer to this question changed every day. One day it was turtles, the next dolphins, and maybe in a month's time it would be dancing. Nowadays, my answer to this question is a little different. I usually can't come up with an answer at all. I've started to believe that there is no answer to this question, no matter how many times it's asked. We're constantly under fire. Go to a university that offers something you're passionate about. The only way to feel fulfilled in your career is to work for something you're passionate about. Passion this, passion that. If you do a quick search on Google on just the word passion, you get no less than 2 billion hits. But does anyone really know what passion means? What it implies? Passion has seemed to become the go-to answer for almost anything. Take this for example. I was asking for some ideas I could write a speech about, and the answer I got was astonishing. I was told to write something I was passionate about, which is exactly what I did. I wonder, why do we constantly have to be on the lookout? We spend so much time looking and not enough time simply living. Chase your passion. Countless times I've heard this dished out as motivations by my relatives. After their persistent interrogations about universities, I tend to give them a blank stare. I'm really thinking about how I'm going to answer this question. I could go two ways. First, I could give them the answer they want, list some pretty well-recognized universities, even throw in a few Ivy Leagues to really impress them. Or I could be brutally honest, give them no answer at all. I usually go with the latter, which, just like clockwork, is followed by the very original advice involving, you guessed it, passion. Is this advice really as inspiring as it seems on Pinterest boards? The answer is no. If you take this advice literally, it makes it seem like there is only one passion for you to find. This makes it harder for you because it creates a closed mindset and you can't stay motivated to overcome burdens. You were led to believe that finding your passion would be a simple chase and grab. According to Stanford researchers in 2018, this advice could even make you less successful. In a study, they gathered over 400 students who were interested in a variety of topics, including STEM, humanities, science, and the arts. These students were given materials such as paper and videos to fill out. Students who were deeply passionate about one topic were unable to stay motivated and finish the rest of the material. In this case, their passion was a distraction. If you live with the mindset that there is just one mold made for you, it makes it harder for you to keep your eye out for potential interests when you believe you found the one. Perhaps I want to submerge myself in the world of business, but that doesn't mean I have to stop thinking about journalism. Passions are restricting us from exploring different interests, so why are they still enforced by our social circles? The reason is that passions are seen as a point of stability in the whirlwind we refer to as life. We're all in a hurry to find a passion that we believe will automatically arrange our future and clear all our confusion. But as surprising as it may seem, it just doesn't work that way. According to the Journal of Vocational Behavior in 2007, this hunt for your one true calling only results in higher numbers of students who are feeling lost and confused. Students are left gasping for air as they are submerged in a world of choices they seem to have no control over. As a 16-year-old student, I'm expected to responsibly and accurately pick my APs for next year. I have to choose what I prioritize, what I feel passionate about, and how to polish my school record to be fished out by a great university. But it's a lot more complicated than simply ticking a box in a course selection survey. Humans are continuously changing. I know that because the person I am today would not recognize the one I was last year, or the year before that. The teenage years are not a place for stability or rationality. In fact, according to the University of Rochester's Medical Center, the prefrontal cortex, the area in the brain responsible for making these rational decisions, does not fully develop until the age of 25. So finding a passion may seem like a solution, but it's really a puzzle, an extremely difficult puzzle with missing pieces. There is no answer to this enigma, no matter how bad we need that point of stability. In the world of business, failure is common. In the world of passion, it's taboo. The idea surrounding passion makes it seem like passion can only be a success. This summer, I took an entrepreneurship course at IU University and found out that 90% of all startups fail. A similar article dating back to 2018 on Harvard Business Review illustrates the importance of failure for well-known companies like Google. The business strategy, intelligent fast failure, mimics exactly what failure can do to how people succeed. Intelligent fast failure is when a company purposely releases an unfinished product to the market so it can fail early on. This way, they can make adjustments tailored from the feedback of their target audience without investing too much money. The more they fail, the more they get feedback, and the more likely they'll be able to create a successful product for the market. If we step away from the idea that passion is your winning lottery ticket, we can use intelligent fast failure to explore different interests, knowing they might fail. So I guess if you were to find your passion, you'd have to ask yourself, what is a passion? I can tell you what it's not. A passion is not something that you think can be safe or rational for the future. It's not something that's profitable or held in high esteem, and it's not something that will make you feel like an adequate child for your parents to brag about over brunch, because as parents, they'll always find an excuse to brag about you. A passion does not need to be defined, and it certainly doesn't have to be singular. We all deserve to give ourselves a break from the pressure that pushes us to find it. As surprising as it sounds, you probably won't find your passion in an illuminated neon sign. But perhaps one day, you may find a small sticky note with an interest that's calling your name. It'll be followed by another and another one after that. It's your choice if you let them pile up or leaf through them one by one. Thank
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Just a note, for my speech, the actual name is just not Please use the call for help.
Okay. Sure.
That's it?
Yeah.
We're done?
We're done.
All right.
I'm just gonna go over these, write in the notes, and then I'll send them downstairs.
Okay. Sounds good. Enjoy your evening.
أيوة رمضان. إيش هي؟ بطة؟ أي قطتي أنا؟ أنا مش بالبيت فمش عارف، بس خليني أشوف ابعت لي صورة القطة اللي عندك وأنا بحكي لك إذا قطتي. لا 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 لا، واحدة لونها سكني وواحدة لونها أبيض وأسود. كل يوم بتلاقي قطة أنت. لا لا لا، مش قطتي. ماشي يا حبيبي، شكرا شكرا. Hello.